welcome to this Symphony of War tutorial. And if you want to learn everything about the basics of the game, you've come to the right place. When you first load up the game, you're going to get an option here for Cadet, Captain, Warlord, and Ludicrous. These two you cannot unlock until you complete Captain, but I wouldn't recommend you start out with either one of these in the first place because this game has a lot of moving parts, a lot of mechanics to it, which I'm going to do my best to explain to you. But I will tell you that if you're struggling with Captain mode, feel free to restart the game and start it in Cadet. As you can see here, all player units take 50% less damage from all sources. So just much easier. It'll give you a chance to learn the mechanics. But I think for the most part, you can probably start out with Captain. I did, and I think you'll do well. So yeah, these are the four modes again. And again, you can't select this Warlord until you've completed Captain. And what does this mean? It means you just get less resources. The enemies are stronger. I mean, it's all the basic things. So that is that. Now, the game is basically has two major aspects to this. First is obviously the combat mode, which we're going to go into in the last part of this video. But the main screen is the town screen, which you're going to be spending a lot of your time here. And this is where you're going to basically pick your perks, or what are often called perks, but really the tech tree. And the other aspect you're going to be spending a lot of time in is organizing your army. That's going to be the other big one you're going to use, where you are going to maintain your squads. All the squads here are individual squads, but the sum of them equal your entire army. So that's important to note. And your army, you can make as, I don't know if there is a limit. I usually average about 17 to 18 squads and sometimes more, but I think usually I end up with about 20. I think that would be where I end up, and sometimes more. But you can create as many squads as you want. You can disband as many as you want. And you will do that. You will eventually you can reorder these if a particular strategy isn't working for you. You can do that, and we'll talk a lot about that. So this is going to be one of the main screens you're going to be at, the squad operations. It's a big part of the game. So let's first talk about organizing your army, and then we'll move into some of these other things. The first thing I would say is you're going to come here, and you're only going to have first of all, you won't get to this screen until you complete the first chapter. The game is divided into 30 chapters with 5 or 6 side missions. They're also called missions. So you have about 30. If you want to do a total walkthrough, I think it's around 36. And then I won't give you the spoiler, but there is a final boss that you fight. I won't say anything more about him. I don't want to do too many spoilers here. So that's basically how it works. You have your squads. First thing I do want to talk about is kind of something you want to think about, which I wasn't doing when I first started this game, but you want to have specialist squads. Obviously, you're going to have a couple what I like to call tank squads. This usually, or damage squads. These usually have heavy DPS squads, like heavy warriors, and a good mix of just heavy damage dealing squads. And these are also squads that have a lot of armor, so you can take them into the heat of battle, and they're probably not going to get wiped out. Many times they can almost function by themselves. And I usually have about 2 or 3 squads like that. So just to let you know, I think that's a good idea to have 2 or 3 squads that are really tough, that can go basically anywhere on the map and survive for a while without even any other supporting squads. Generally, you do want to keep your squads together when you fight to some extent, and we'll talk a little bit about that later on in the video. So, like I said, here's the squad Jewels, which is a bow, which is archery. Now, if you want to open up a squad and start to look at them, you hit squad operations. So you come here, you hit that. Now it allows you to select these squads. If you escape back, now I can't do anything. I have to pick one of these options here. So if you hit squad operations, you can come in here and open up this individual squad. And like I said, this is a squad which is based on, it's basically based on obviously archers. And if I could add more archers here, I would. Now you get to add 9 units per squad. So you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There is a tech tree perk that allows you to add a 10th. I haven't actually done that yet. I haven't added 10, but I have had several times where I get 9. In this current game, I'm only about I think 8 chapters in or something, 7 or something. So, but by the end of it, I would have all these filled out. So each squad has a leader. You can see here it's identified by L. And to look at a unit, if you just want to see what they've got, you can highlight the row. You click on unit status and then you highlight the row. And then you can click on them. You can see all of their stats. So here I can see his health is 159. I can see his weapon damage is 29. I can see his threat. That's a big thing. I didn't use this in the game, but this is big to see how what threat does this guy. But usually I look at it from the overall threat rating of this whole squad, which is 5472. Now here's the squad I'm really making my top squad, which is Atomic. That's got a higher threat rating. You see here, 7877. Obviously, the higher this number goes, this is probably going to be your badass group. So again, you want to have specialist groups. This is a horse. Obviously, this is a cavalry unit. You got to have a couple of those. You don't. And by the way, I shouldn't say you have to have them. You can play this game any way you want. But I did find that once you get to the end game, you're going to probably need a couple bow squadrons. You're going to need some cavalry squadrons. You're going to need some big time tank squadrons. Usually, I make that Atomic, which is the leader of the whole group. By the way, the squad that you first name will be your main leader right here. That's Atomic right there. So he's one of the heroes. And each you will run into heroes, like you will run into Diana. She's probably the most important hero in the game. And I always make her one of my top groups. She has a ton of, you're going to use her a lot. She's my big tank class, and my big tank squadron, I should say. So I surround her with a lot of good units. And if we go look at her, we'll hit squad operations again. We go in here. Let's look at her. She's got 481. Now let's check the next unit over right here, and 392. So quite a bit less. I will say that this is a little finicky when you're clicking on these highlights. Try to do it like up in the corner here. And it's a little bit easier to click on it. If you click on them sometimes, and like on the player, it gets a little messed up. So I just find it's easier sort of highlight it down here. Now, obviously, you can move units. So we can highlight her, move her over here. You can remove them. Now, if you remove them, they just go back out into the pool out here, into your reserve bucket. So, and you will have, it's good to keep a reserve, especially if you need a new squadron you have to make. These aren't going to count against you or cost you money or anything, nothing like that. So I usually keep a pretty good sizable reserve if I need to add units in or remove units or redo my part. And I actually find myself reordering parties based on if I don't like the way something's going, you can do it there. So again, if you remove somebody, they just go out into your pool. Now, if you really wanted to get rid of them, you could actually remove the unit, but I don't right here dismiss unit. But I don't usually do that. So that's how squad operations work. Now that's not it. There's a lot more. First of all, one of the biggest, most important things in this game is capacity. What is capacity? Capacity is basically how many players I can currently add. The default per player costs 10 units. But you might be saying, well, wait a minute, you've got 6 here. But look at this, the leader right here has a trait. If we actually click on that, he's got this trait called Archer Captain. And what does that say? Archery units in this squad cost 2 less capacity. Well, if you think about that, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 archery units. That allows me to add basically an extra unit. So keep an eye out for some of the traits like this that reduce capacity. So that's the big part of the game, and it scales. I think it goes first 4 or 10, cost 10, and then as you go, if you add more and more, it goes up. I think like when you get to 6, it's like 12 points or something. So it does scale up. How do you get capacity? How do you increase it? Well, it's very simple. You increase it by leadership skills off the leader of the party. So Jules is the leader of this party. If we go to his page here, you can see it under here, LDR. That means 52. So as he increases this, it goes up. I'll be able to add more players to his group. Now, how do you increase? We'll talk a little bit about this when we get to the combat. How do you increase LDR? Well, you do it through combat. You do it through capturing points, strategic points. If Jules is the actual group that captures it, he gets rewarded for that, and this will go up. You can also do it through adding what scrolls. So here we've got Medal of Honor. If you highlight that, you can see here. In fact, let's talk about this. So this ties into another subject. So you've got two basic ways to add attributes to the game. First is artifacts, and the other is individual items. So artifacts work against the entire party, and items, which I come here to hit use item, that works against individuals. But I will say this, some items that you add to individuals will affect the party. They don't always apply to the individual. For instance, this trait right here, this individual trait, by the way, obviously applies to the whole group. So there's some that don't. So in order to see how many traits the individual has, you just highlight over him, and you can see here he's got 2, precision and archer captain. I can't add any more because he doesn't have any that are available. Now I could overwrite him, but I don't recommend doing that. But if we click on this guy, he's got 2 open slots. So that means I can go ahead and give him some traits. Let's do that. So if you come here, whoops, didn't want to do that. Let's go back. Squad operations, go in here, hit use item. Let's select this guy. He's got 2 traits. Let's give him vengeance. Let's just give him vengeance. And if you highlight over it, it'll tell you what it's doing. The unit deals 25% damage for every incapacitated unit in the squad. So if some players get killed or he will do more damage. So let's add that. So you just hit it, you hit use item, and voila, he now has that. And if I go back out to the squad operations and just look at his status, you can see now he's got vengeance. There are ones that are one-time only that basically increase stats on him, and I'm going to show that to you. So let's go and say, let's go back to use item. Let's say we're going to use this roast beef of might. Now I wouldn't put this on him normally. Well, you could increase his strength, which will make him do more damage. So we're going to use this. And you'll notice it doesn't put it under this trait, just increases his strength. But it'll tell you. That's the other thing that's really cool. But I love this about the game. So as I hit that, it brings up another screen. It's always on the right that'll show you the increase. So in here, in this case, we're going from 34 to 36. Let's do it. And you notice here, it wasn't anything. It was just something we took. And now it's permanent, but doesn't apply. It's not a trait that's learnable. I guess that's the difference you would make. Now, there's a couple other things to talk about. There's also, you can level up your class mastery with this. And this is another thing also that is just a one-time only. It's not a learnable trait, but you can quickly increase the skills of your player by using these. But use these judiciously. So you don't want to just, maybe I usually use these against some of my main tanks or main characters I want to level up faster. So, but let's say we want to get this guy up to a level 14 archer. So I would come here, hit that XP Codex, and look, it tells me it's going to level 14. And then it'll tell you everything he's getting now. He's going to get an increase in his weapon strength, increase in strength, and an increase in his skills. So we hit that, and there it is. We're down. We only have one of these left, and that's how it works. Now, like I said, leadership is very important. It increases capacity. So if we go back, we see here, let's actually go back to the leader, because this only applies for the leader, by the way. Whoever the leader, this stat will be directly tied to what the leader has. So if we go look at the leader here, and we hit, let's do that. Let's just look at his stats here. Use item. No, come on. Unit status. Oh my gosh. Okay. So you can see he's got 52. Well, there you see that 52. So it only relates to that L. If you have that L, that is the leader. Now, we want to increase that. This is a very, very important item that you can get. If you see these in the game, if they drop, or if you have the ability to buy them, do yourself a favor, buy them. Because you can start to increase the leadership, this stat real quick. So let's do that. Let's give him the Medal of Valor. That's what these are called. And look at that. He's going up 2. We have 2 more capacity now. So I go use it. I go back out, and look, now we've got 54 capacity. Now remember, it's probably going to cost, now I would add another bowman here, so it wouldn't be 12. But let's go let's go to squad operations back here. Let's hit add unit, and I can't add it because I just don't have enough capacity. So it won't even let you. It'll tell you. By the way, as you can see right there, 10, which I said was, so it will tell you. So 10 right up here, plus 4, so 14. So basically I got to get this to 64 before I can add somebody. Now let's go buy, we're going to talk about the marketplace in a bit, but let's just go buy a bowman real quick and we'll see that it's less. It'll tell you. Because he has that trait. If I go back to organize army, squad operations, and I go ahead and try to add now it will tell you. Only 12. Look at that, 2 less. So I would only need to get to 62, which I'm 6 away. And like I said, as I play him more in combat and capture facilities, his leadership will go up. By the end of the game, I usually have him decked out with a full set of archers. Okay, so that's how adding items works. I think you got a good example of that now. Now the other big thing, like I said, are artifacts, which apply to the group as a whole. This is called the Imperial War Banner. You can see there it boosted my squad capacity. How nice is that? You get to add 2, but actually initially in the game you can only add 1, but in the tech tree, which we'll be talking about, gives you you can actually unlock a 2nd and even a 3rd. And I usually get all these. I usually have each group decked out with 3. And that's the other point I want to make. You want to make sure that you're not leaving artifacts, or unless it's, sometimes you won't need the artifact, but generally, especially with items, you want to try to use as many of the items as you can. Now, there is a big difference, I will say, with artifacts. Most artifacts, not all, but most artifacts, when we have to come down here to hit artifacts, sometimes add negative stuff. Items, almost never. But sometimes there are, and you got to just keep an eye on which artifacts are doing what. Now, in order to do that, we hit empty, and let's go see. So let's find it. So you can see here, yeah, I want to add the ruby ring, but it also would decrease my total. It would up my total capacity. Now I'm at 51. Do you see that? It says -3 on the capacity. If we go back, look, I had 50. So that -3 is a little weird how that works. I think it scales, but nonetheless, we take a little hit on the capacity if we wanted to add that artifact. Let's go look at that again. And one thing it lets you do is you can highlight over it and see, and it'll tell you up here like what it'll do if you look on the right. So -3, and we take a little bit hit. It tells you we're going to 58, 51. See that? So just keep that in mind. Kind of look at that. Now the one thing nice about the Imperial War Banner, that's a +4. So that actually has no negative stats. It gives you +4. So that's why I gave that, because I'm trying to add as many of these as I can. So we could go through here. And let's say we wanted to add, and some of these artifacts are definitely more geared towards archery squads. There's one in here that's really good where it adds a ton of strength, but actually terrible on magic. But archers don't need magic. So just if you're wondering if this is a good artifact for my squad, go ahead and just Google it and see what it does. There's always a lot of message boards out there will tell you what artifacts are good for what units. But that's how you add them. You just go to artifact, you hit empty. We can add this. Boom. You can also just remove it. And the cool thing is, it just goes back into the pool. You unequip it, it's gone. That is usually not the case for items. Once you get rid of it or override it, it's gone. So just keep that in mind. But artifacts will just go back into the pool, and you could assign them to another team if you want. And I do that a lot, by the way. I do sometimes change these around as the game evolves and I get different units. I'll move these around too. So it's something I do quite a bit. All right, so we've talked about some important aspects here to this. One other big thing is changing classes. Now that's kind of a weird name. Because really what it's for is promotions. Now every type, let's go here. Let's go back to the bowman here. Let's go back there. So if you click on that unit status again. No, I'm sorry. I want to click on change class. So if I click on change class, it'll bring up the what you can basically upgrade this guy to when he has the ability to do an upgrade. So once we get that, and that's identified by this little, we'll talk about the gold in a second, but that's identified by this green arrow. In fact, let's go to the dragon, and you can see here, this means we can now upgrade him. So that's when you would come here to hit change class. You'd open this up, and it's allowing us to upgrade it to the silver dragon. Now, I don't have the upgrade yet for the red dragon, so I got to wait longer, and I usually do. I like the red dragon, is actually my favorite because I think he just does better damage. This one has like a chill effect, so I got to wait. And I could upgrade him, and certainly he would be more powerful, but I usually wait for the red dragon upgrade. So I have to wait a little bit longer. Once I get it, that's what that means. So let's just say, though, we want to do that. Let's go ahead and upgrade. So you'd hit change class again. We'd hit that. We'd come over here and hit it. Now, some of these upgrades do require some of these resources up here. So just keep that in mind. The big one is iron, gems, horses. You need all of these things to do upgrades. So just keep that in mind. If you doesn't do it, it'll tell you why. So we're going to hit upgrade now. We're going to hit promote. And that's it. Now we've got the silver dragon in our group. So that's how promotions work. Now there is a so like I said, this is now a tier 3 dragon. This is the tier 2 right here, by the way. And the tier 1's an even smaller dragon. I think I've got him out there. So there's 3 basic tiers that you get to upgrade. Where's the smaller? I think I have one here somewhere. No. No, I don't. But this is the tier 2, and this is the tier 3. And if we come over here to hit change class on this guy, you can see that's it's offering the upgrade for the tier 3s. If we come over here, now all we can do is demote you, and you can actually, if you want to go back and change things up, we could actually downgrade this guy. It's a really cool game. It gives you that ability. They're actually now most everything is tier 3, so there's 3 ranks of this guy, and we can look at him too. Next, we get to upgrade him to a paladin or a Valkyrie. I really love the Valkyries. Or we could do a Templar, which is one of the best healers in the game. So you have options there. Or we could download a militia. I don't know why you would do that, but you could. And you can see here, it tells the resources it needs for the upgrades. It needs iron. So just keep that in mind. It will tell you, resources used. Actually, it doesn't look like there's any for the dragon, I guess. If I'm right about that, maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe that's something else. But nonetheless, you will need iron to do most of the basic upgrades will require some iron. If you upgrade anything with a horse, it will need a horse. Okay, so that's how the upgrades work. And like I said, there is one extra upgrade. There's actually a tier. Well, I don't know if it's tier 4, but it's like a tier 3.5 where you get a dragon rider, and that's usually later in the game. But if you get all the way to the top of the tech tree, there's an unlock for that, which is really cool. The other thing is, so the other upgrade is this little gold arrow. What this means is once you've upgraded to tier 3, you actually can upgrade that character. It's not really another tier, but in a way it kind of is, because you get to upgrade it to the character. It's really cool, the animations on it. They'll turn gold, and it just gives you some better stats. And what that, you can't change the class. So you know how I was showing you those demotions? After that, that's locked in. You can't change it. Like we could come here and downgrade him to Acolyte. Now let's go ahead and upgrade him to a gold unit. And what you need for that is a very specific thing called proof of merit right here. So let's highlight that. And there it says, use on a tier 3 unit with max CP, which is right here. So you got to have that maxed to upgrade them to a gold version of their current class. Will no longer be able to class change. So this is really the best endgame unit you could get. And look, he goes from 392 to 419. He gets all these extra stats now. So look at that's really cool. He's gold now. So let's go ahead and do it. And now he's golden. And by the way, I have no more. Oh no, I do have some more proof of merit, so I could do some more upgrades. But it's grayed out because I can't do it on him anymore. And if we come here to change class, you can see we can't change class anymore. So they weren't lying about that. You can't. So he's locked in. But if you have a tier 3 unit, which you really like, the only way I would say you wouldn't want to do it is if you somehow wanted to demote him. But I do so few demotions, I don't think it really matters. So again, that's going to be up to you. So you can see here I could go ahead and upgrade him. So that is how the promotions work. That's very important. Okay, let's head back to the screen now. I think you've got an understanding of how to organize the army. Now let's talk about the other big area, which is tech tree. So here you can see I've already got some stats in here. When you first start out, I think they give you 3 or 4 of these. They're up here, these scrolls, and these allow you to pick them. You can only select the tier 1. Now, if you get enough of tier 1, you can start unlocking tier 2, and you get enough of those, you can go to tier 3. You can see I don't have enough tier 3 yet to get the 4. And this one right here would be the Dragon Rider. And some of these actually cross over. So you got to have enough in this side, enough on this side to get this. This actually allows you to add 10 units. I believe it's this one right here. So, and you can see here, like, look at this, the Dragon Trainer. So, you know, gives you faster class mastery from combat and increased chance to appear as mercenaries. I actually take this as early as I can get it because I like to develop several dragons that are really good endgame units. When you first come into the game, the 2 I like to get right away are this one right here, Merchant Envoys, and we're going to talk about the very quickly here, or in very short order, we're going to talk about the marketplace. But this gives you basically more opportunity to hire experienced warriors and artifacts. So I always buy this very first. You can do what you want, but that's the one I like to get first. The other one I like is this one. All new conscripts start at a +1 level, so they're already leveled up. So I always get these 2 first. You guys might have some different ideas, and you don't necessarily have to do that, but that's how I do it. So that is a tech tree. It's fairly straightforward. You get these through obviously combat and finishing missions and getting you know, that's how you get these. So you'll get them as you complete chapters and stuff. You'll get this. They'll go up, and then you can certainly start unlocking things. So that's pretty self-explanatory, but that's how the tech tree works. Other big place you're going to spend a lot of time is the marketplace. Yes, so we come to the marketplace. You got 4 options: recruit, trader, sell items, exchange. I do not use the exchange at all. So this is the one thing I cannot talk about. I just don't find it. I usually find everything I need, but I just don't use this. So rarely use it. So, but these 3 I definitely use. Now, recruit stands for what it says. You can come here and recruit players. At the bottom are much higher level players. In fact, I'm probably going to, this is actually a run I'm doing. I'm probably going to buy Gabriella because I love Valkyries. I like to spread them in groups. So, I mean, they're like a paladin on a horse. And the paladins and Valkyries are kind of, they're like I would say, I'm getting off on a tangent here, but they're kind of the one size fits all. So they do some good damage. They have some healing, a little bit. Obviously, they're not as good as priestess or medics, but they do some healing. They can tank, so they're kind of a one-size-fits-all. So I like to add a few of these to each party if I can. I definitely like, this is one of my favorite classes in the whole game. So there's that. The other are, we'll talk about it, mages, and they're important too for DPS. We'll talk about them in a little bit. So, but yeah, you can come here. Now, obviously, this is kind of more of a fully developed character. We could get more levels, so that's really what you're paying for. Or you can develop them yourself, but it's much cheaper to do that, and I think in some cases advantageous on your finances. So if I want to go ahead and develop a Valkyrie, I could start that from one of these medics. The medics actually upgrade through that, I believe. So I could buy good old Jacqueline here and start leveling her up. So there's that too. You don't have to necessarily buy these guys, but it is useful, especially if you're midway through the game and you need higher ranked characters. You can go ahead and just buy them here, and hopefully you'll have the money up here. If you don't have the money, a lot of times I sell items that I don't need. There are some I just don't use a lot, and artifacts. You can sell artifacts and items. If you do go to sell, you'll see down here, you'll see these E's. That means it's equipped. So you might want to think twice. It's kind of telling you, hey, it's equipped. I don't even know if it would. I've never tried to sell equipped item. I don't even know if it will let you sell it. But you might have to go unequip it first. I don't know the answer to that. But here are all the items. And you could, if you needed some money, you could go and generate. I think these XPs, these sell for, look at that, 500 a piece. But I generally don't like to sell these because I use both of them. But you could, if you wanted, if you needed money, if there's some recruit that you absolutely wanted. So that's how the trader works. The trader is where the items are. So here, iron, you can buy things here. You can buy artifacts, you can buy items, and you can buy materials. So all these sell, and I usually buy them. If I see materials, I almost always buy them. I just get them. So other like affinities, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. I don't buy these too often, except if I see light. If I see affinity of light, I usually do buy those. Here's some horses. Those are good for upgrades. I probably would have bought that too. So that's how that works. There is one interesting thing to point out. And I don't know if I can do it here because I already purchased something, but it's called save scumming. Now, where you save the game, you come to System, and you hit Save, and it'll save the game. Now, let's say you completed a mission, you were done with the mission, you came back to this marketplace. Immediately take a save. Take your save, and then go look at the marketplace. Oh, you don't like what's being offered here? Just go back here to System and reload it. And before you've done anything, and you will get a second set of characters that you can choose from that you might like better. I think it does it for items too. I don't do that a lot, but I know some people, and it's something the developers meant to do. So it's certainly no problem doing it. I just don't want to waste the time doing it. But you can do it if you want. I don't think it actually works on the hardest mode, though. I think they do block it. But all the rest of them, like Captain and Warlord mode, they allow it. And now there's another thing I wanted to show you that's kind of important. Let's buy Jacqueline here. Just keep an eye on Jacqueline's health, and keep an eye on, there'll be another medic immediately available. So let's go ahead and buy Jacqueline for 146. Amelia's up now. Look at that. She has more health. Let's buy her. All right, let's go back to squad operations. And we have to actually act like we're adding a unit here, but you can see here, Amelia has 153 health. Jacqueline, only 128. See that difference? This is a better character. So keep in mind, it's so cheap to buy them. Now you could do the loading too. You could do the save scumming, but you can also just do it that way. They're so cheap, you can just buy a couple of them and see which one has the best stats and pick that one, and then just disband these other ones. So that's something you can certainly do. So keep that in mind. So that's how all of that works. Now, if we deploy, we go to a mission, which is a chapter. You can see here we're on chapter 11, actually. I'm sorry, I was on chapter 11. There is a side game called Arena, which is not tied to the overall. It's not tied to the the overall game. Well, what it allows you to do, and it's kind of cool. I wish they would actually expand this out more. Maybe give it's kind of like Exanima, where it has its own life of its own. But Arena is a good place to level up your characters. You also get items if you win it. Obviously, you get the experience. You don't lose anything, so if your characters die or something here, it doesn't matter. It's not going to affect anything. Let's actually start one. So you'll come in here and you get to select 5. You get to only deploy 5. Now, in the normal chapters, sometimes you can deploy 20, but here's just 5. And it's a very simple, you got to capture their base. And by the way, they are trying to capture your base. You got to be careful. I've actually lost this a couple of times where I wasn't paying attention, and one of these guys, got out here. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the game management. So you hit and this is the same way you deploy a mission. So you come here, it's going to pull up your squads, and you can pick who you want. Usually I like to go in Arena, I like to go tank class. I like to take Diana. I like to take Barnabas, get a little bit of cavalry. I definitely like archers. Take some archers, and this is good for Arena. And let's get some dragons out there. All right, so we got 5 really. And usually in Arena, I put my good classes. Now I will say, well, we'll talk about it in a minute. But so, and this is kind of the same way you're going to do with when you go to the missions too. You're going to deploy. You're going to pick your squads that you want for your army, and then you're going to go ahead and begin the mission. I mean, it's the same way. The only difference here is this really isn't. This is just a smaller sort of game in itself to just get some extra experience for your guys, and to combat experience, and also to capture this point. If we capture this point, we get a bunch of rewards in the form of artifacts, items, and gold. That's pretty much what you get. So it's sort of like a side thing. You don't have to do these to complete the game, but I recommend you do it so you can level up some of your squads and work on their experience. So if you begin the mission, now it starts. And this is going to be, the same way for the regular chapters too. Now, you go first, the player phase. You click on your player.
I must stay strong.
Now, this is very, very important. Maybe the most important aspect of the game. So you click on Atomic here.
The battle lies before me.
We can see, and the green is how far they can go. So I couldn't take him here, but I could get him right to this mountain. Let's try to take him to that. He won't do it. But I could get him to this mountain. So I could send him all the way out here. But that's probably not the best strategy because these guys are now going to be able to hit me before I hit them. So he can reach that too. So I would recommend, and you can do this how you want, but usually the best way is just sort of come out here a little bit, sort of set up in a battle formation, and let's just do a little walk through this. So we got our archer out. I mean, I'm doing this quickly. I'd probably take a lot more time to figure this out. Keep in mind, though, that ranged units can actually, these guys are going to definitely hit me. I wanted to show you this. These guys now can come down. I probably could have got to them, but well, actually probably not, now that I look at it. But just keep in mind, this probably wasn't the best deployment because these guys can come down and hit me. Now, they're not going to do a lot of damage, but they could. But these guys you got to watch out for. And this is another thing I wanted to point out for. Firearms are very dangerous. You really have to take care of these guys first. If you see them, these guys are carrying firearms right here. You'll recognize them. These are the guns, and then there's cannons, which do even more damage. And you want to basically set up a strategy priority to get rid of them. But I definitely wouldn't want to come up here and gotten his range. He would have hit me pretty hard. So let's end the turn, and now they're going to move. Now you're going to see what's going to happen here. They're going to come out here. He didn't reach me, and he didn't reach me with those guns. He can't hurt me. I said the archers probably would. Actually, I forgot the cavalry can go even farther. Now, see that? They have some archers. It was just what I was saying. They could reach us from a few tiles away. So just keep that in mind, that archers have more range. They don't need to be directly up against you to reach you. See, he can shoot me now, even though he's a couple tiles away. Yeah. Didn't do a lot of damage because I'm heavily armored. But they're more of a threat against actually your own archery units. They can do a lot more. I hope he attacks my archer. Yes, now watch this. This archer has less armor, look. A lot more damage. Now your archers get to fire back because they also have some range on them too. And actually I won that exchange. So just keep that in mind. Now, let's go. Now, normally what I would do, and I always do this, I go after these. This is a very dangerous unit. To me, it's because they're very offensive. I want to show. So I'm going to go attack him right away. I mean, I'm doing this quick. I might have, but basically I want to target him first. Okay. Okay, let's actually restart everything up. I want to show you now when they hit me. Hopefully it's the same firearms. I want to show you. All right, now I want to do something a little bit different. Oh, I think this. No, you know what we'll do? We'll just go into them. Let's start it because these cavalry would hunt me down first. So let's just end turn. Okay. And I'm going to show you what happens the other way. Where and sometimes, it's... And by the way, you can always restart a mission. Even arena missions, you can always... Or reload. So you don't really lose anything. You can always restart a mission. It's one of the things I really like about this game. It's not a true roguelite. So I'm trying to get this guy to attack me. Let's see if
I must stay strong.
Let's actually take Atomic over here.
Where am I needed?
Okay.
My friends are counting on me.
I was hoping to show you just how much damage those firearms do. If I can get them to attack me. Okay. Oh, there we go. Here we go. Watch this. Look at that. They're almost dead. So you really got to watch it. So just be wary of those. And actually, if they had a full complement of those guys would have been dead, and the second row would have been damaged. So that's what I wanted to show you. So this is arena mode. I'm going to back out of here now. Oh, look at that. Horse, yeah. So this is the main thing you got to watch out for. I'm trying to, okay guys. Now they're just gonna go. I'm gonna put this on pause. I didn't want to just show fighting to you. Okay, there was actually one more or two more things I want to show you. One other big thing is this supports thing. Now you're gonna come into these things where a lot of your heroes that you unlock have all of these conversations. Some of them they're failed pickup artists. Yeah, so sometimes they like each other, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they get married. So I don't pay a lot of attention to this, but you can come here, and I think if you're first playing, it's kind of interesting to read them, but you can also just skip them, and it basically will just give you the rewards for it. So, and I do a lot of skipping now, but you do want to pay attention to those and just at least maybe watch them the first time, but I usually skip them now, but you still get the rewards. And then you're done. And then you can come look at the relationships. I don't pay a lot of attention to this. I probably should, but some of them, they get bonded. So it'll say bonded effectively means they're married. Sometimes they become friends. Sometimes they don't like each other for a while, and then it's kind of like a soap opera. But what I will say about this is if they're friends and you keep them near you in the game on the tiles, you do get some morale. We're going to talk a little bit about morale, but yeah. So basically, that's how that works. Again, I probably should pay more attention to that than I do. But again, I just want you to be aware of that, and it'll highlight this if there is a conversation. You'll see a highlight here. You come in here, and once you're done, it'll be grayed out, and then I'm pretty much just done with it. But I do try to get the rewards for it. I think you should too. Okay, there's some other topics I want to talk about, and I actually loaded one of the missions here just to show you some things. So blue is everything that you own. So we've captured this point called, if I can get the name, the temple. Now temples are important to hold them because number one, you can revive your dead players. So if somebody dies out here, for instance, on this particular one, I've lost, so I lost the paladin, as you can see. So I could take her, Abigail, all the way up here in this temple and do a revive, and it'll also restore heals. So there are two types of heals in this game. They're important. Obviously, in battle, your cleric, if you have a cleric, I call it cleric, it will heal you, but you can also do heals on the board if they're available. So let's check that out right now. There you can see, I can now heal and select a character I'd like to heal. Let's heal up the dragon. So I call that just sort of the board heals, but there's also, obviously, when you're in combat, that cleric would automatically heal your players, your characters. So just keep that in mind. You have a certain amount of these, and you can refresh those at the temple as well if you get your player up here. So just keep in mind this is always available on almost every map. There's a temple. Not all of them, but they're there. So just keep that in mind. Also, you will see mines. So remember I said if it's in blue, it's ours. Well, we don't currently own this, but we can steal it. So we're going to take this with Matthew. You just come up here, you seize it. And now look, we've got an objective captured. We got some iron out of it. And we also got some leadership experience for good old Matthew. Now, if you ever want to see the mission objectives, you can just hit the escape button. And it'll tell you, victory, defend the monastery for 15 turns, or seize Westerfield Fortress. I try to do all of those objectives, but that's down here. We'd have to come all the way down here. And actually, I'm in deep trouble right now, but I wasn't paying much attention to strategy. Because I wanted to actually get a setup here to show you some of this. Now, the other important point I want to talk about, very important, is your cavalry. Now, you'll notice here that the makeup of this is not all horses. We have some infantry units and some healers and a dragon. So if we click on how far Mr. Herman's group can go, all the way down here, It's a long ways, right? But here's an all-cavalry group, and I want you to see the difference here.
Got all day.
Well, actually, that's the same. And
You got a plan?
that's a little weird. Wait a minute. I think it's... Oh, you know what? It might be because those forests... Let's try this out again. I'm going to get wasted here, but that's okay. Because I actually do want to get atomic... before we hit, we're going to get wasted here, but that's okay. Because I do want to show you some other things. So, just keep in mind, you know, we would want to come down here and try to seize as many of these as you can because they give you experience, leadership experience, and obviously gold and many other things. So you want to try to take those if you can. Also, there are chests. Always look around for those. Those give you items, sometimes very rare items. And obviously the points that you want to capture. I also want to talk about... I guess I would call these ramparts or whatever these are. So you can actually go up here. So you can see I put my archer up here. He is now safe from ground units. Now, archery units, like this archery unit over here, he could hit me. But any melee units, if they wanted to get to me, would have to go all the way around here. And let's hit that. He would have to come all the way around here and get to these stairs. Then he could attack me. But you can see here, this guy can attack me right away. I don't know if he can reach me, but if there's and also if the group has an archery unit or like a mage, they could assault me. But this basically is sort of a protection mechanism. Now you will run into scenarios where the enemy's in here, and it's obviously more difficult to get them out of there. So you want to develop strategies for doing that. So just keep that in mind. That was something very important I wanted to show you. Oh gosh, yes. And you will also see these tents, these bazaars. If you see these, try to get in here. They sell some very rare characters that you can buy, rare artifacts, everything. So generally, if you see one of these tents, try to get over there. It's basically like the marketplace, but it has a lot of rare items that you might pick up. So it's good to check these out if you see them on the map. I'm glad that was there because I wanted to show that to you. All right, so other thing very important is stealth. Good to have a couple rogue classes, and that's what Stefan and Razguja are. What is the difference between a rogue and just a normal one? Well, rogues get the ability to do stealth attacks. And you can see how this tile's kind of gray. That means, and it's gray because we have the ability here to do a stealth attack in this area. All these gray tiles. Anything that's green, we can't. And that's because this is exposed. You can see it's because they could see us. But in the forest, see these. There's a reason I actually put these guys on the forest because I wanted them to defend in case these guys came up here. Now, what is the benefit you get from a stealth attack?
Strike like fire.
Well, you get to attack 2 times before the enemy can do anything. And that can get really powerful. I mean, you can actually take out a whole group. If you get 2 attacks before they can do anything, you can pretty much almost wipe out a whole group. But again, if I move...
Guide my attack.
Let's move her over here. Or let's move...
Here comes Sybil, ready or not.
Sybil... I can't get her over there. But yeah, that's how that works. So, you know, you can see here, if I click this...
They'll notice this one for sure.
It's all green. I can't get any stealth in here because we're out in the open. So just keep that in mind. You should click on the character and see if you get stealth attacks. Very important. You could also, by the way, elevated positions are better for archers. If you get them on one of these hills here, they're going to have a little bit more range, I believe, a little bit more attack. So it's always good to get them on here if you can. You'll see those. This is a good area, elevated. Again, it protects from melee units. These little hilltops or mountains will not protect you from the melee units, but these actually will. Okay, I'm going to put it on pause because I wanted to show you the revive up here if I can not die because I wasn't even paying any attention to strategy. These guys are just going to totally come in and destroy me. Okay, so let me show you kind of what I was trying to show you before. Barnabasis
School is in session.
Gets to go a little bit longer because he's got all horses. Now, and look at this. He can hit this mountain. He's 1 tile over. Let's look at... So let's look at Herman now. He can't even reach it. So just keep that in mind. Having a total cavalry group gets you can move just a little bit farther. So that's the nice part about that. So let's also show the temple. Here's a temple. Atomic has suffered 3 casualties. We go in here.
Ready.
And now it gives us the opportunity to revive them, which we can do. And there. Just like that. We can, like I
For
said,
my
we can.
people.
Well,
For my homeland.
I don't think we can refresh heals at this. Sometimes you can refresh heals. So there's that. And then you can see here I'm just now in deep trouble. I'm not even attempting to fight these guys. But this is, I've had this situation before where it goes like this, and it's just, you can just restart the mission. And that's the thing. Like I said, you could just come here and reload your game. Or you can retreat, too. You can obviously, where is it? Should be a place here. System. Yeah, you can just retreat or even just restart it. So you're not going to really lose anything. What you will lose is anything, you got in this particular fight. But other than that, you're not going to lose anything. So there's all of that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else here. I think that's pretty much it that I wanted to talk about. Yeah, let's just go ahead and seize one of these mines. Oh, no, we did seize. I think we did. Let's see. Well, one thing I will show you, if you take a look at Matthew here, he doesn't have any rogues, and look, he can't do any, can't really do any sneak attacks. Whereas
Raskuja is to be ready.
Getting real thirsty here.
with Stefan and Raskuja, we have that ability through these sort of gray tiles. Okay, there is just one final subject we need to talk about. Let's actually just go back to. Oh, there's so much to this game. I know I've missed some things here, but one of the things I did want to talk about. So when you come here, you'll see all of these objectives. Now you can try to reach the target turns, but the game will still keep going after that. There may be a limit, but don't be surprised if sometimes you might need to take 20 turns. It's just the way it is. Now, if you try to go faster and reach this, I normally just use this more as a guide, but I don't really care about this as much. I think there might even be a way to turn it off. I don't really care. I'm more interested in getting the squads neutralized and the objectives captured. Now, if you get all three of these, great, but more power to it. But I usually focus on these two first. Now, obviously, I want to try to get this, but if I can't, I'm not going to sacrifice units just to get that. So just keep that in mind. You do get a bonus. It's called the S bonus, speed. So you'll get a few extra rewards for doing that, but, I wouldn't worry too much about it. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Okay, there is one final thing I want to show you if I can get out of here. Oh, no, wait, gosh, there was something else. Later on, you will unlock this powers thing. I can't show it to you right now because I don't have it up. But, or maybe I do. Hold on. Maybe I do. Maybe I lied. No, I don't. Okay, okay. So, but what this is, I don't have it right now, but what it is they're actually very important late game. And what you'll get is you'll get 4 or 5 of them. One will allow you to teleport, so you could teleport a player over here and you could move around a lot faster. Another one, though, maybe the most important one, it's the final one. It allows you to basically revive your group. And you'll see it here. I forget the name of it. I should know it. But, use these. And what happens is they refresh. As you fight, it'll be up here. They'll refresh, and you can use them again and again. So just keep in mind. There's another one called Meteor. Very important. You can do splash AoE damage to anywhere on the map, basically, I think, except for their base. But you could hit, I could hit these 4 guys and take them down about 15%, 20%. But that adds up. So very, very important. There's another one that actually puts fear into them. It's like a fear one. So this will come later. It's grayed out now, but you will see it later, and that's how that works. So if you want to use them, you just have to come to this menu, hit power, select it, and then up here later on, you'll see it'll be like one of these circles, and it'll just slowly refresh as you fight and progress within the mission. So glad I thought of that. That's what that is. So yeah, let's see if we can get out of here now. I keep hitting the wrong buttons here. Let's see, system. I wonder if we should just do quick load. See what happens here. Maybe I do have that. Oh, this is the final. Well, I'm not gonna ruin it for you. This is semi-spoiler, but I did want to show you these. So these are them. You can see here, I've got all 5 of these. You come here, you hit powers, you hit meteor, and watch, I can hit all 3 of these guys now with that. And it hits them a little bit, takes them down. That's very, very useful. You can see now, it's basically, it needs to be refreshed, and you'll know it's refreshed when the circle's white around it. that's an important one. Teleporting is important. So I can take Diana here, teleport her over here, and just you can move around a little faster. Now you can see it's no longer there. But maybe the most important one, without a doubt, in my opinion, is this one right here, which is Blessing. Blessing basically will give you another turn, but it also, so that's the big thing. But also, so like if I attacked somebody here, well, let's show it. Let's see if I can do it here. Well, let's just move her. We'll just move her down.
Before the righteous.
Let's move her down here. Let's wait, and now let's go use it. Blessing. And now she can move again and attack somebody. So you can attack 2 people. But what it also does, though, which is so important, it will actually revive all your dead members. So, you know, if I wanted, but there's a temple down here. I could go revive down here, but that's really important too. The other one, I don't know. I mean, I guess they help out well, yeah, this is big. So, Exemplar, I'll use that, and then Terror. That's like that fear base. So, there's that. So, just wanted to show you those. They were confusing to me in the beginning, so I just wanted to show it to you. So, one more thing that we failed to talk about, or I failed to talk about, and let's do a system load here. Let's just go out of there. The affinities, big subject. Oh, wait, am I at the? Yes. It was one thing I forgot to talk a little bit about. Affinities are, if you want to. By the way, if you want to know about everything in the game, you can come to this node, and there's a lot here. I actually was reading through here, so you could come here, and you could hit affinity. And it'll tell you that's under each character has, you can only have one affinity. And it'll just tell you what they do. So like, for instance, the light one gives you leadership. It adds, this basically will, every time you take a strong point or battles, it'll add some, it'll give you a bonus on building up your leadership. So that's why I like each leader in the team, if possible, to have this light. And you can see what these other ones do. You know, I mean, this gives you strength, obviously, but takes away health, it looks like, or something. Or no, what is that? Agility? I'm not sure. This one adds strength, the fire, but the water takes away, it adds health, but it takes away a little bit of strength. By the way, if you change these, and you can, you just use item, you select it, it will be retroactive. So for instance, if I had somebody under a water affinity, and I wanted to switch them to light. That's usually what I do by that. I always switch to light. I don't pay as much attention to these as I probably should, but I like to get my leaderships with light because that gives them the leadership bonus, which adds the capacity. So I'll switch it there, but it will actually adjust it so that they get all that extra LDR, as they call it. So that's affinities. Loyalty is important for mercenaries. There's other things here now. So when you hire mercenaries in that marketplace, when you go to that hire thing, they will not be loyal. But as their loyalty goes lower, it will reduce the capacity that they take up. So just keep that in mind. That's useful. So as you eventually, they won't even be mercenaries anymore. They'll be so loyal. And what does that do? It just reduces their capacity. We talked about some of these other things. You know, we talked about strength, skill, magics. You know, you'll see it there. That's important. We talked about the XP. We talked about some of the attack types and stuff. But let's go look at the affinities real quick. So, for instance, you can come here and let's look at Jules. This is the one I always want to make sure. Like, I don't know if Jules has light, and maybe I don't have. No, she has water. But see, I don't have a. Let's see if I have a light. You got to have the item, the light item, to give it to her. So let's see, or him, or whatever. Yeah, see, I've got affinity Earth, so I could switch. Let's do that. Let's switch it to Earth now. And there it'll tell you. It'll tell you you're gonna go up in strength, but you're going down in magic and skill. So you do it, and there you go. Now it's Earth, which is a little bit better for your fighters. Fighters are pretty good. Melee fighters are good for Earth, but you can see I don't have a light one, so I can't give it to her. But Atomic, I think, does. Let's see. Atomic does have light, so he'll get that bonus for leadership. Yeah, so he even gets a further bonus for leadership because he's got light. So that is what affinities do. There are a couple of other things I want to talk about briefly that are important. One is the placement of your troops. Now, obviously, I mean, sort of a standard formation. Let me see if I can find one here. I mean, this. Let's see. Trying to look for like a standard formation. Yeah, like I had one. If I have a standard formation, I know I got one. I mean, this is a standard formation, but I wanted to talk to you about some of the threats that you might face and just how you deal with them. Okay, so this would, I guess this would be kind of a standard formation where you got the tanks up front, the leader in the middle, and your healers on the back side. This is sort of a standard thing to do, and it's probably the right way to do it. It's not the wrong way. All your heavy tanks up front, they take the brunt of the damage. You have your leader in the middle, or you may want to put him on the back row to protect him even more. In this case, though, he's got Barnabas has quite a bit of health, so he's actually also serving to protect the clerics or the healers. So that's kind of the standard arrangement. Now there are sort of, you can think you don't have to do it this way. You can certainly do it different ways. Now I will tell you that if you get hit by a rogue attack, and it will happen, you play this game enough, you're going to get hit by rogues, and they can actually get to the back of your line if they sneak attack you. They can, because remember I was talking about sneak attacks, you can also get sneak attacked. And if they do, they can really do a lot of damage to your healers, even take them out. So just keep that in mind. That's kind of why I put atomic healers in the middle here and put these Valkyries on the back line. Because this is sort of my anti-rogue unit. And that's why I thought of it. Like, I can go really right into rogues and not worry about getting sneak attack because these Valkyries have a lot of armor and they can, for the most part, withstand a lot of damage. I will say, though, that there are weapons that can go do like AoE, especially some of the pole arms, that can hit your healers. So just be aware of that too, that they're not entirely safe here as well. Obviously, they could get hit by casters. So again, I kind of just changed it up a little bit. Most of the time, you will have the leader in the middle. I think that's sort of the standard way to do it, but a lot of times you can put them on back. However, there are some exceptions to that too. Diana, for instance, is probably the best tank in the game, one of them, and I put her up front because she just almost never dies unless you completely blow it, or she gets attacked and you get sneak attacked or something. But for the most part, it's one of the few examples where I put the leader up front. And sometimes you have to because they're just such a good tank that you can put you have enough healers, you can do that. Now, one other thing to talk about is how many healers in a group. Now, this group does a lot of damage. This is an older run. I switched this up, though. They weren't doing enough, so I put a mage back here because there were just too many Valkyries. I was Valkyrie heavy, and I felt I wasn't doing enough damage with this squad, and it actually made a huge difference. I put a really powerful magician back here, and that helped out. So you want to, that's another example. Like, I think it was this. I think, is it, let me see if I don't know if I can find let's see, where is it? Let's add unit. No. Somewhere. Yes, right here. So I added her, and it just increased the DPS. So again, if we go unit status here, you can see it's Kathy the Curious. And look at her magic, by the way, 114. So she does. I just needed more power, so I sort of it was too defensive. And that's the thing. Sometimes you think about it, it's just too defensive. You might need to switch it up a little. But if you have two healers, certainly feel free to go that route. This group is very difficult to wipe out because now I've got extra healing power. They do enough damage that I was able to do that. Now, sometimes you only have one, but if you have a lot of Valkyries will heal too. You can see I got Diana here up front. She makes a great tank. Now here is a cannon formation I got. Now, cannons, remember I talked earlier about firearms? Well, these are the worst ones. You really have to avoid these guys, and these aren't even the fully, I think they upgrade to another, let's hit change class here. No, but you really have to watch out for the cannons because they do a lot of AoE and they can just take out your whole group. So if you see a cannon formation, they're even worse than the firearms. You need to deal with that as quickly as you can and get rid of them. And usually what I try to use is like atomic or something, or one of my big heavy damage classes and take them up there and wipe them out as quickly as possible. And hopefully there isn't a lot of units around them, so you can. But if they're surrounded by some other units, that can get very tricky. So you just have to sort of learn how to deal with that. Now here you can see I've got some of the Dragon Riders, and this is I call it like the tier 3.5 upgrade. But they do, they're a really good end game unit when you get them. They can just do huge amounts of damage. Look at that, strength 123. I mean, they can do a lot of damage with his fire breath. I will say that one thing I forgot to mention was that a dragon is a great unit to have, but they do consume 2 tiles. So just keep that in mind. That we here. We're kind of I think we are maxed out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so I can't add 2 more units. This is a completely maxed out unit, and I can't. Yeah, Abigail's the leader. Let's see, she's got a 71, but I can't even. Now Abigail gets a bonus. You can see there, she gets a bonus. She gets this dragon affinity. So it's good to keep Abigail, and you'll find that out. Some heroes do better with some of the different unit types, and you'll figure all of that out. But yeah, just keep that in mind that you're going to lose an extra unit. But it makes up for it, though, in the huge amount of damage they do and the AoE damage they do. So, in fact, let's go look at the tech tree here real quick for this run. And yeah, you can see right up here I've got the Dragon Bond. Unlocks the Dragon Rider class. That's the tier 3. This one is that middle one I was telling you about. It has the 10 capacity. I haven't got that yet. But, I mean, I haven't got 10 players yet, but that would be pretty nice. All right, well, I finally think that's it. So I hope I covered enough. Thanks for watching.